طيب إن شاء الله.
AA from Montreal, Canada. Assalamu alaikum Mufti. Can you please explain the hadith of Hajj resembling camel humps? How do we apply it? Is it only for when wearing hijab? Can we put our hair in a top bun in the comfort of our home? Barakallahu fi.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Wa fiqh barakallah. The ruling of putting the hair in a hump or a bun. Many sisters, they ask about this. An-Nawawi rahimahullah and others, they explain this hadith and they say that some parts of the hadith have a special depiction. Women during those times that will put their hairs or their hair in those styles for certain reasons and purposes, to be seen, to be noticed, of prostitutes, etc. But for the sheer fact of a woman just having her hair in a bun in front of her husband or by herself, it says that's not necessarily haram. That isn't necessarily haram unless it's done with that intention. Unless it's done with that what? That intention. Perhaps this is what's correct with regards to the understanding of this hadith. And Allah knows best.
Samir Muslim, Toronto, Canada. Dear guide, can you please share some words of advice for the student of hadith as it pertains to some etiquettes when reading the hadith of the Prophet?
With regards to a talib of hadith and some of the adab of reading hadith, etc., the people of ilm, they've explained these etiquettes. And they say in brief, the etiquettes of reading the Prophet ﷺ's narrations are similar to the etiquettes as if you were sitting in front of him. Similar. ﷺ. With regards to how you look, how you smell, how you're dressed, how you're sitting, talking, chewing, not paying attention, not focusing, raising your voice, not giving your all, having a full cup, thinking what I want to do and what is, what doesn't make sense, and this and that, instead of just taking the hadith and seeking the proper understanding of it. What's important is there's different ways and different types in which a person reads hadiths. Sitting in a class is one thing. Don't stick your feet towards the instructor. Take off your socks, play with your feet, your toes in the class. It's disrespectful. Everybody understand this? Or play with your phone. Or yawn and scratch. On Friday, a brother was sitting on the front row. He was picking the calluses on his feet. Right? Sitting right there, picking his feet. Literally picking apart his foot. Everybody understand this? Or some people, they come to the class, they don't take no care about their outward appearance. It doesn't have to be a fashion show. No one is saying that it has to be a runway. But just basic etiquette. If you have the time to go home before you come, after work, comb your hair, brush your teeth, pick your afro, whatever hairstyle you're wearing, braids, then that's best. That's what? That's best. Brush your teeth, take a shower, smell good. That's best. You work as a mechanic, alhamdulillah. You work in a coal mine, alhamdulillah. If you can't go home, you want to hear the dhikr, la bas. But to sit in the class as a student of hadith, close to the class, in front of the teacher, is a different story. Raising your right hand, different story. وَهَكَذَا, as we've explained in the classes, in the lectures, with regards to the adab of a majlis of hadith. We've explained that in several different talks or on Hadithdisciple channel. Last but not least is, if you're walking down the street and you're reading hadith, that's different. You're driving in a car, that's different. You're reading before you go to sleep, that's different. That's not like a formal majlis. You mention Allah standing, sitting, and lying on your side, as Allah says in Surah Al-Imran. So a student of hadith, you read all of the time. You read when you're walking down the street, when you're walking through the airport carrying your bag. All your focus is not there, but you're getting a quick snippet. That's labas, that's fine. Sitting and eating, that's fine. Drinking tea, that's fine. But the actual majlis is a different story. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best.
AE from Barranquilla, Colombia. If one gets a job where he can't pray on the job, does he earn money? Does his earned money become haram money? And if he goes to Hajj with this money, does his Hajj then become invalid?
It doesn't necessarily mean that the money he makes is haram. Doesn't necessarily mean that. As long as the job or the occupation is something which is tayyib. It's not khabith. It's not foul in itself. The fact that you can't pray on time being haram, there's no question about that. There's no doubt that that's a major problem and a big issue that could possibly lead a person to not being a Muslim. And if he still is a Muslim, there's no doubt he's making a huge major sin by not praying on time. The people of knowledge, they say it is obligatory upon the Muslim to find a job that will allow him to make his prayers on time. Even if it isn't directly when the prayer comes in. Dhuhr comes in at 12:30 and you only get a chance to make Dhuhr at 2 p.m. Asr's at 3 p.m. or 3:30. They say, la bas. You've made it inside the time of Dhuhr. That's fine. When you're not working or when another person has the shift, make it at 12:30. But every day you miss Dhuhr and Asr and you pray them when you go home, that's haram. You cannot have that job. You must quit that job or make the necessary adjustments at that job. And if you can't find another job and it's a necessity, ask Allah to give you another job and make it your resolve and your intention in your heart that the moment you get an opportunity, you'll leave it for a better job, even if it's less money. And then he'll leave something for Allah Azza wa Jal. Allah will give him something which is better. As far as going to make Hajj upon haram wealth, the people of knowledge, they say if a person makes Hajj with haram wealth, obviously that's a problem. But there's several different issues that we have here. One is kasb tayyib, lawful earnings. And others, they say a person may make Hajj, the haram wealth may be with the ticket, but the rest of the money may be lawful. Hajj and traveling are not necessarily connected. A person can make Hajj without traveling. They're like living in Mecca. A woman can leave her home without a mahram, and that's a long discussion with regards to a woman traveling in 2018 on an airplane. But saying by the default, a woman traveling without a mahram is against the sunnah, no doubt. She made a sin. But her leaving the airplane, she's now in Jeddah, she's in Saudi Arabia, has nothing to do with her Hajj now. The sin was, or the issue of it being haram or looked down upon, was traveling and only traveling. So what's important is, when you make Hajj, especially for the first time, you should try your earnest to make it from the purest wealth as possible. And if you have a business, if you have money that you're making, and it's something that's displeasing to Ar-Rahman, you shouldn't be doing that, period. For Hajj or other than Hajj. In Ramadan or outside of Ramadan. Allah knows best.
Assalamu alaikum. ST, Brooklyn, New York. My step-grandfather, who was married to my biological grandma, has a son that is not my grandmother's child. Is his son mahram for me? Barakallahu feek, Shaykh.
We'll suffice ourselves with these questions. And inshallah ta'ala, hopefully we'll take some more tomorrow. Jazakumullahu khairan.